From Northern Ireland, Rory McIlroy.
Rory McIlroy.
Remarkable Hall of Fame career.
There is talk today that Rory could be the next great one.
Reigning Masters champion Rory McIlroy will join the biggest names in Australian golf for a gala dinner.
You thought he's going to do it, then you think he's not going to do it.
Go in. Rory McIlroy delivers again.
Rory McIlroy.
Remarkable Hall of Fame career.
I always thought I was special. I always thought I was going to be the best player in the world. But thinking it and believing it are two different things.
I know I can win. I know I can beat all these guys. The only person that's stopping me from doing it is myself.
The new ruler of the game of golf is Rory McIlroy.
At 23 years old, he had already won 3 major championships. He was world number 1. He had the swing, the charisma, the trophies. They were already comparing him to Tiger Woods. Rory McIlroy wasn't supposed to chase history. He was supposed to own it. But then came Augusta, a back 9 collapse in 2011 that changed everything. Subscribe to Behind the Game for more cinematic sports documentaries like this. Let's begin. A green jacket that slipped through his fingers, and a question that never went away. Can he finish what he starts? For the next decade, he would win millions. He would lift trophies. He would return to world number 1. But the one tournament that defines legends kept defining him instead. This is the story of a generational talent, a 10-year drought, and the battle between greatness and doubt inside one man. Before the majors, before the meltdowns, before the pressure of Augusta, there was just a little boy in a quiet seaside town called Hollywood in Northern Ireland. On May 4th, 1989, Rory McIlroy was born into a working-class family with no guarantees, except one. If he had a dream, his parents would do everything to protect it. His father, Jerry, worked multiple jobs. His mother, Rosie, worked night shifts at a factory, not for luxury, not for fame, but to fund flights to junior tournaments and entry fees for a game that doesn't come cheap. At just 2 years old, Rory was already swinging a plastic golf club in the living room. Not wildly, not randomly, with rhythm. By the time most kids were learning the alphabet, Rory was learning tempo. He grew up at Hollywood Golf Club, just minutes from his house. The course became his playground. While other children ran through parks, Rory walked fairways. It was there he met coach Michael Bannon, a family friend who quickly realized this wasn't normal talent. Most young players have to be taught fundamentals: grip, posture, balance. Rory already had them. At 9 years old, he appeared on Irish television, calmly chipping golf balls into a washing machine for fun. When asked what he wanted to be when he grew up, he didn't hesitate. A professional golfer. Not hope, not maybe, not if. By 16, he shot a course record 61 at Royal Portrush Golf Club, one of the toughest links courses in the world. 11 under par, bogey-free. People didn't just notice, they stared. In 2007, he earned the silver medal as low amateur at the Open Championship. 18 years old, fearless, flawless. The world saw a prodigy, but what they didn't see was the expectation beginning to grow. Because when you're that good, that young, greatness isn't a dream anymore. It's a promise. When Rory McIlroy turned professional in 2007, there was no easing into the spotlight. He wasn't just another young talent. He was the talent. At 19, he earned his European Tour card. At 20, he was already contending against veterans who had spent decades chasing what came naturally to him. Then in 2009, it happened. At the Dubai Desert Classic, Rory stood on the 18th tee with a one-shot lead, calm, balanced, unshaken. He didn't just win, he announced himself. That victory pushed him into the world's top 20, and suddenly, the whispers grew louder. The next big thing, the future of golf, maybe even the next Tiger Woods. In 2010, he crossed the Atlantic to test himself on the PGA Tour, where careers are made and exposed. At the Quail Hollow Championship, just 2 days shy of his 21st birthday, Rory fired a final round 62, course record. First PGA Tour win, youngest winner since Tiger. The comparison was no longer subtle. He wasn't just talented, he was inevitable. That same year, he played his first Ryder Cup, representing Europe under immense pressure, and instead of shrinking, he thrived. By 2011, Rory McIlroy wasn't chasing greatness. He was expected to define it. Every tournament he entered, he was the storyline. Every leaderboard he climbed, the cameras followed. Commentators spoke about how many majors he would win, not if he would win one. At just 21 years old, he had the world at his feet. And then came Augusta, the place where legends are crowned and doubts are born. April 2011, Masters Tournament, Augusta National. Rory McIlroy was 21 years old and leading by 4 shots going into Sunday. This wasn't supposed to be difficult, this was supposed to be destiny. For 3 days he looked untouchable, calm, controlled, mature beyond his years. The next great champion was arriving ahead of schedule. Then came the back 9. On the 10th hole, everything unraveled. A wild drive left, a punch-out gone wrong, a triple bogey. You could see it, not just in his swing, but in his eyes. The certainty was gone. By the 12th hole, the lead had vanished. By the 15th, the tournament was slipping away. By the 18th, it was over. He shot 80. In a single afternoon, the narrative changed. Not prodigy, not future legend, choker. Headlines questioned his nerve. Analysts questioned his temperament. Was he too young, too emotional, not built for the moment? Augusta doesn't just test your swing, it tests your mind. And for the first time in his career, Rory McIlroy looked human. After the round, he faced the cameras. No excuses, no deflection. Just a 21-year-old trying to process public heartbreak. But what the world didn't know was that the collapse at Augusta wouldn't define him. It would ignite him. 2 months after Augusta, Rory McIlroy arrived at the U.S. Open with something to prove. Not to the media, not to the critics, to himself. From the opening round, it was clear. This wasn't the same player who had unraveled at Augusta. This was controlled fury. He opened with a 65, then another 66, then another. By the weekend, he wasn't just leading, he was dismantling the field. At Congressional, Rory didn't flinch. He didn't wobble. He didn't blink. He finished at 16 under par, a U.S. Open scoring record at the time. 8 shots clear. The youngest U.S. Open champion in nearly a century. The narrative flipped overnight. The choker was now inevitable again. But this time, something was different. The innocence was gone. In 2012, he won the PGA Championship by 8 shots. Another dominant performance, another statement. That same season, he climbed to world number 1. At just 23 years old, he had 2 majors and the game at his feet. By 2014, he added 2 more, the Open Championship and another PGA Championship. 4 majors before turning 26. The comparisons to Tiger Woods weren't whispers anymore. They were debates. Rory wasn't just talented, he was overwhelming. When he was on, he didn't just win, he suffocated tournaments. Power off the tee, high, piercing iron shots, fearless putting. How good is your good? One analyst asked. Rory's good looked historic. By the end of 2014, he had 3 legs of the career Grand Slam. Only one tournament remained, Augusta, the place where the scars still live, and the one jacket that would decide everything. By the end of 2014, Rory McIlroy had done almost everything. He had won the U.S. Open. He had conquered the PGA Championship twice. He had lifted the Claret Jug at the Open Championship. 3 different majors, 3 different stages, total dominance. Only one remained, the Masters Tournament, the Green Jacket, the career Grand Slam. Golf's most exclusive club includes legends like Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, Ben Hogan, and Gary Player. Rory was 1 win away from joining them, and that's when the weight changed. Because chasing greatness is one thing, chasing history is another. Every April, Augusta became less of a tournament and more of a reckoning. In 2015, he arrived in peak form. Didn't win. In 2016, the Grand Slam storyline dominated the headlines. He faded on Sunday. In 2018, he played in the final group, the dream pairing, the chance to rewrite 2011. It never materialized. And then in 2022, he charged up the leaderboard with a stunning final round 64, electrifying Augusta. But it was too late. Second place, close enough to feel it, not close enough to hold it. The longer it went, the louder the question became. Why Augusta? Why this one? Technically, there was no flaw. Power off the tee. High ball flight built for Augusta's greens. Experience, confidence. But golf isn't just played with mechanics, it's played with memory. And every time Rory stepped onto those back 9 fairways on Sunday, 2011 walked with him. The Masters wasn't just the final piece of the puzzle anymore, it was the scar. And the deeper the drought grew, the heavier that green jacket became. After the PGA Championship, Rory McIlroy was 25 years old with 4 majors. 4. At that age, the trajectory seemed obvious. 5, 6, maybe double digits. Instead, the wins stopped. Not entirely. He still lifted trophies. He still contended. He still climbed back to world number 1. But the majors, the ones that define legacies, disappeared. Year after year, April came and went. June passed. July faded. And the numbers stayed the same. In 2015, injuries disrupted momentum. A torn ankle ligament forced him to withdraw from the Open. Rhythm vanished. Then came equipment changes. Sponsorship shifts, the pressure of expectation. When Nike exited the equipment business, Rory had to rebuild again. New clubs, new field, new trust. At the highest level of golf, even the smallest uncertainty can cost everything. Meanwhile, a new generation was rising, relentless, fearless, unburdened, and Rory, once the young phenom, became the veteran still chasing something unfinished. The media narrative shifted. Not, how many will he win? But, why hasn't he won another? From 2015 to 2023, he collected FedEx Cups. He won the Tour Championship. He played brilliant golf, but every major Sunday felt heavier than the last. Second at the Open, second at Augusta, top fives. Near misses, close enough to remind everyone how good he still was, far enough to keep the drought alive. 10 years without a major. For most players, that would still be a Hall of Fame resume. For Rory McIlroy, it felt like unfinished business, because when you've touched greatness early, anything less starts to feel like falling short. After nearly a decade of near misses, Rory McIlroy arrived at the 2024 US Open with one mission: end the drought. The buildup was immense. 10 years chasing history. 10 years haunted by memories of Augusta and final round collapses. Every fan, every analyst, every competitor knew the stakes. Rory started fast. Birdies came early. His swing was precise. Confidence radiated. For a moment, it felt like the old Rory, the unstoppable one. He climbed the leaderboard quickly and found himself within striking distance of the lead. By the back nine, he was one shot behind the leader, Bryson DeChambeau, and the chance for a fifth major was tantalizingly close. But golf is cruel. At the 16th hole, a missed putt, one he usually makes with ease, sent a ripple through the gallery. The gap closed. The pressure mounted. Rory battled, making every birdie possible, but the margins were razor thin. By the 72nd hole, Rory and DeChambeau were tied at 6 under. The tension was unbearable. Every shot, every swing, every putt mattered. A single mistake could cost everything. And then came the decisive moment. A chip shot that ran just past the hole. A bunker shot that didn't quite roll as planned. Rory's dream of breaking the 10-year major drought slipped once again as he watched the opportunity fade. It was heartbreak, raw and public. A reminder that even the greatest talent can face moments beyond their control. But even in defeat, Rory showed resilience. The world saw not just disappointment, but a fighter who refused to give up. 10 years of pain, near misses, and heartbreak would only fuel the next chapter of his extraordinary story. April 2025. The Masters Tournament, Augusta National, the stage that had haunted Rory for 14 years. This was more than a tournament. It was a reckoning, the final piece of the career Grand Slam. The green jacket that had eluded him for over a decade. Rory arrived in peak form. Confidence radiated from every swing, every step on the fairway. He wasn't just contending, he was dominating. 2 wins on the US Tour earlier that year had set the tone. This was the Rory McIlroy who could conquer everything in his path. From the first round, he impressed. Low scores, precise drives. Greens navigated with a surgeon's touch. By the weekend, he held a 2-shot lead, and by the 13th hole of the final round, he was 4 shots clear of the field. Everything seemed in his control. But Augusta is Augusta. History and pressure can twist even the best swings. A mishit wedge threatened to derail him, evoking memories of 2011. Yet Rory steadied himself, a steely focus replacing doubt. Each shot, each putt, a statement. He had learned from the heartbreaks, the missed majors, the near victories. On the 18th green, the moment arrived. Fans held their breath as Rory lined up his final putt. Smooth, confident, perfect. When the ball dropped, a decade of frustration, failure, and perseverance melted into triumph. Rory McIlroy had finally conquered Augusta. He had completed the career Grand Slam. The years of doubt, heartbreak, and near misses were behind him. The scar that had haunted him became a badge of resilience. This wasn't just victory, it was validation, a legacy cemented. Rory had faced the ultimate test and emerged as one of golf's true greats. Rory McIlroy's story is more than trophies, majors, or records. It's a story of talent, perseverance, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. From a living room in Hollywood, Northern Ireland, swinging a plastic club at 2 years old to the world's biggest stages, Rory has faced pressure few could imagine. Early success, crushing setbacks, and public heartbreak could have broken him. Instead, they forged him. He is not just a prodigy, not just a champion. He is a fighter, a competitor who refuses to be defined by failure. Every collapse, every near miss, every decade-long drought shaped him, honed him, made him better. He has now won all 4 majors, climbed to world number 1 multiple times, and inspired millions around the globe. But what makes Rory truly extraordinary isn't just what he's achieved on the golf course. It's how he has battled doubt, injury, pressure, and expectation to emerge stronger each time. Rory McIlroy is a generational talent, a man who refused to let setbacks dictate his story. A legend not only of golf, but of resilience, determination, and the courage to chase greatness, no matter how long it takes. This is what Rory McIlroy really is, a champion in every sense, and a story that will be told for generations.